It's Bradley, and it's one of the most effective weapons Ukraine has ever received. And now you'll see that for yourself. The place you see now is the hideouts of the Russian occupiers. The attack begins with a targeted strike on one of the positions. The AFU has a clear plan. Bradley and his assault team are moving in. Using the Bushmaster cannon, he sizzles the buildings one by one. It's impossible to respond under such fire. At the same time, Ukrainian special forces are moving in, Bradley's covering. The operation is coordinated by a thermal imaging drone. A few moments later, the positions came under the control of the AFU. But the Russians have managed to call in reinforcements. Bradley is ready for this as well. A shot from the Tau turns the occupiers' meat pot into dust and clears the way for retreat. The same operation was carried out in New York. Under Bradley's cover, Ukrainian special forces are moving into position. There's information that there may be an enemy in the building. Bradley wipes him out. Then the special forces go in. The AFU throws a grenade into the basement. Then we see a massive explosion. Positions are being cleared one by one. All this is happening under fire from the Bushmaster cannon. The operation has been successfully executed. The infantry and Bradley are leaving New York. This is the Kurakhove direction. The occupiers' position is right here. Take a look at this. Nearby are the occupiers' trenches from which they had to retreat because of the excellent work of the Ukrainian mortars. Just look at how many holes there are. And when the enemy is at a disadvantage, Bradley arrives and wipes out the Russian position. Some sources say this is also a Bradley. Its gun is incredibly intimidating. The buildings of the invaders are crumbling under its assault. There's no resistance to this APC. They do whatever they want and escape successfully. And at this very moment, the target was destroyed just over 2,000 meters away. The Russians will fall into a trap set by Bradley. We see a Russian APC carrying reinforcements through a populated area. All seems calm. The infantry dismounts, leaving the armored vehicle. The Ukrainians quickly respond and send a Bradley to intercept. Bradley locks on target. Seconds to complete annihilation. Bradley opens fire. Direct hits on the APC. The Americans' cannon performs perfectly. An armor-piercing round hits the fuel tanks. Another penetration. Bradley deserves a like. Bradley's advanced electronics can anticipate target movement and fire slightly ahead. See how it works. The Russian APC is trying to escape. Notice how much distance there is between them. Bradley opens fire and turns the meat pot to ash. The Bushmaster cannon is unbelievable. And this is a first-person video of Bradley's commander. At sunset, a group of Ukrainian armored personnel carriers are sent to assault a wooded area. Several Bradleys are firing at the same time. The APC reaches its destination and drops off the infantry. We see another Bradley taking the soldiers a little further away. The task of the APCs is done. Now it is time to leave the dangerous area. It's up to the infantry now. At this point, the FPV operator spotted the Russian stronghold and relayed the coordinates to the APC commander. Bradley advances to the position and begins the attack. Under that kind of fire, no one would have been able to lift their heads. The walls of this house are cotton wool for an American APC. Then a Ukrainian combat drone arrives and puts a stop to it. The combat mission was brilliantly executed. The Russians again launch a failed attack, but this APC manages to escape. At the same time, Bradley goes to the aid of his fellow soldiers and meets a meat pan of the occupants. It opens fire from a 25mm cannon. It pierces the armor of the Russian APC and it rolls into a pit. But notice this. This is an APC-82. It is equipped with a 30mm gun, which is also very fast. And look at that, they're also firing. Bradley was in great danger, but apparently the skill of the crew played a part, and Bradley came out of that duel victorious. Another duel. Now it's between Bradley and the Russian tank. Bradley locks onto the target in his thermal imaging scope and fires a Tau missile. The missile hits the Russian tank and destroys it. Another episode where Bradley caught the occupiers off guard. This is a Stugna P ATGM missile, almost hitting a Russian APC. The Russians are trying to gain a foothold in one of the settlements in the Avdiivka direction. A dozen soldiers land on the outskirts of the village. On the other side of the village, an unpleasant surprise awaits them. When the soldiers leave the APC, it drives away. Pay attention to this moment. A kamikaze drone flies over the APC. The drone continues to accompany the Russian armored vehicle. The operator manages to wait for the right moment and deliver a devastating blow. The armored vehicle is immobilized. Another Ukrainian drone strikes. The APC is destroyed. Here's the surprise I was talking about. The village is guarded by a Bradley APC. Russian infantry can't react in time. The Russians tried to break through in the Stepov area. The Ukrainians responded with the help of Bradley. The American armored personnel carrier shreds the Russian APC with shells. Part of the armor falls off the Russian armored personnel carrier. Look at this again. The attack failed. The Russians were defeated. The crew spots the Russian drone. Bradley doesn't have a lock on these targets. There's nothing left to do but shoot. The gunner's skill allows him to shoot down the drone and save the equipment and crew. Bradley came to stop the Russian infantry, which is crossing the field to storm Ukrainian positions. Even if the Russians reach another planting, it changes nothing. The cannon cuts down trees like thin branches. They offer no cover. This is an incident from Avdiivka. Ukrainian assault troops called for reinforcements. The Bradley IFV easily suppresses the Russian advance. And even if the Russians manage to occupy a building, there's no sense in hiding in it. Brad's cannon will riddle the building's walls. If an enemy tank or armored personnel carrier is at a great distance from Bradley, the Ukrainians use anti-tank missiles, with which the armored personnel carrier is armed. Bradleys often help repel these bloody assaults. Under the cover of night, the Russians bring their APC to the positions. At dawn, a Bradley arrives and starts drilling holes into the Russian bucket. Gradually, the Bradley closes in on the Russian APC. These shots became fatal for it. Now it was the infantry's turn. The American tank killer is incredibly effective against infantry. No man on the ground would want to be in the position it's firing on. Here, Bradley is mopping up enemy positions in the Avdiivka direction. Notice the burning pieces of enemy equipment. Also in our previous videos, you could see this footage. 2 of the APCs you see were destroyed by anti-tank missiles and artillery, but the third one fell into Bradley's hands. We're watching the footage from the gunner's point of view. Notice how quickly the 2 APCs fall apart under fire. We can see that the guidance systems are at an extreme level. How different the Russian vehicle is from the American one. That's all for now. See you in the next episodes.